Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. If you guys haven't heard already, Netflix is looking to revive the Resident Evil series. They're looking to make a season based on the first video game. I've seen it all over social media where people are basically making their own little teasers of what maybe the posters for the series would be. I know a lot of people are really excited about this series and well, looking at how the film series went, not the CG one, the one by Constantine Films and Screen Gems, those movies are actually pretty good, and I like them personally, but they don't go faithful to the source material. So, for this series, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be translating the elements from the game into a film or a series that I feel would work in its entirety. So, a couple things that I want to talk about before I start my little envision of this film. I'm going to be breaking this video up into a couple because if I just basically explain the whole movie and how I feel like it should go, we'd be here for a whole day. So, I'm going to be breaking it up into different parts. I'm going to be examining the prologue and the first part of the mansion today, which is basically just kind of exploring the mansion, and we're going to be acquiring the armor key today as well. Another thing is that since you can play as two different people, you can either play as Chris or you can play as Jill, and depending on who you choose when you first start the game, the scenarios throughout the game will be slightly different, but for the most part, the game plays out the same way for both characters. So for this movie or series, I'm going to be stitching together parts from each scenario so that it's a whole cohesive story, and that way we get to see both parts of the scenario so that we can get a complete story. So, starting off, we're going to begin with the prologue. In the game, Chris monologues that there has been disappearances and murders in the Arklay Mountains. Dangerous monsters have been spotted there, and the monsters end up eating their victims once they've killed them. The RPD advises that everybody stay away from the Arklay Mountains for now, and that STARS Alpha Team and Bravo Team have been contacted to investigate the matter. From there, we transition into the scene that happens before the mansion. So for the movie scene, we're actually going to have the Raccoon City News, maybe like a news report, and it's going to start off with them dictating the murders and the disappearances that have been going on in the Arklay Mountains. They're also going to have maybe an interview with the Raccoon City Police Department, having them advise the residents to stay away from the mountains from now because of the dangerous creatures. And then we're also going to have them talk about how STARS has been contacted to investigate. So from here, we're actually going to cut to where Alpha Team is heading towards the Arklay Mansion in the helicopter. So at this point in the story, we're actually going to have them reveal that Bravo Team has been lost. They lost contact with them, similar to what happens in the game. So we're going to have Alpha Team land, and they're going to discover that Bravo Team's helicopter has been forced to crash. So nearby, they're going to actually find an unknown member of Bravo Team who is actually found dead. In the game, they just find an arm that's connected to a handgun. So here we might have something similar where they find a body part that has been disconnected and they actually don't know who this belongs to. In the game, this is where Joseph dies. So we're going to have that happen here as well. Joseph is going to be attacked by a Cerberus that comes out of nowhere, basically, and he's going to be killed off in this scene. Alpha Team, which at this point is comprised of Jill, Chris, Barry, and Wesker, we're actually going to have them all head towards the mansion like they do in the game. And in the game, if you're playing as Chris, the people that are going to be in the mansion hall with you are going to be Chris, Jill, and Wesker. If you're playing as Jill, it's going to be Jill, Barry, and Wesker in the main hall. So for this scenario of ours, we're actually going to have them all enter the hall at the same time. So in the game, there's actually a gunshot that is heard, and depending on who you play as, if you play as Jill, you and Barry are going to go investigate the dining room, and Wesker is going to stay in the main hall. If you're Chris, Chris is going to volunteer to go check it out, and Wesker and Jill are going to stay in the main hall. So for this scenario, what we're going to have happen is that a gunshot is going to be heard like it is in the game. We're actually going to have Jill and Barry go investigate the gunshot like they do in Jill's scenario. And we're actually going to have Chris and Wesker head into the opposite door. This is the room that contains the first floor map, which is actually atop of a statue of a woman holding water. So since the scenarios run a little differently, this is where the differences start to show up. So since Wesker and Chris are going to be entering the first floor map room, the hall that leads into the area that has the Cerberus jump scare where they jump through the windows, this part is actually locked. So for Chris, in his scenario, he would need the sword key to open this door that leads into this hall. And since Chris does not have the sword key at this point, we're going to have Chris and Wesker leave this room, and they're going to head up the first floor hall as stairs, like he would have to do if he was playing as Chris. He would have to go up to the second floor, and you would have to get into this hall from the opposite side. So we're actually going to have Wesker and Chris go upstairs, and they're going to be heading into the second floor dining hall. At this point, Jill and Chris scenarios are going to be running simultaneously to each other. So Barry and Jill are going to be entering the dining room. They're going to find that there's blood on the floor near the fireplace. So like in the game, we're going to have Barry investigate this while Jill heads into the side door. This side door leads into a hall that contains the doors to the piano room, and this hall is actually where you encounter your first zombie in the game. So it will step in and the scene will play where the zombie is chewing up on a person, and he will drop the head, and it will be revealed that he's been eating this head that he severed. And once the scene with Barry, or if you run back and then you come back and investigate, you'll be able to find out that the person that the zombie was eating was actually Kenneth from Bravo Team. So at this point, we have an unknown member of Bravo Team who was killed prior to the Alpha Team getting to the mansion. We have Joseph from Alpha Team who was killed by the Cerberus outside, and Kenneth has been revealed that he's been killed by a zombie here. Brad Vickers, which was the driver of the helicopter, he actually flew away when the Cerberus attacked because he got scared, but he's still flying around the area. So for now, we're going to have him fly off scared like he does in the game, and we're not going to be hearing from him for a while. So Jill is actually going to run out, and she's going to talk to Barry, and she's going to see the zombie is going to follow her. We're actually going to be using George A. Romero's style zombies for this series, because the zombies in the game actually require from 3 to 4 shots, maybe even more depending on the difficulty. I need 1 headshot to get brought down. So we're actually going to have Barry shoot this particular zombie a couple times before he realizes that that's not going to work, and he's going to have to shoot it in the head to bring it down. So once he's brought the zombie down and they've had their little interaction like they do in the game, Jill and Barry are actually gonna run back to the first hall actually to confront Wesker, what's going on. But when Jill and Barry go back to this area, or if you're playing as Chris, we actually had Chris and Wesker go up to the second floor dining hall. We could actually have them in that area as soon as Jill and Barry are gonna enter the hall. That way, when they enter the hall, Wesker and Chris are no longer here. So we're actually going to have a scene that plays out similar to the one in the game if you were playing as Jill. We're going to have Jill and Barry try to look for Wesker in this hall, but to no avail. After that, Barry's actually going to give Jill the lockpick at this point so that she can have this item later, and we're actually going to see and investigate further. So in the game, you already know that Barry actually does not go back to the dining room. He's actually going to follow Jill. So we're going to have Chris and Wesker head down from the second floor dining hall. We're going to have them enter the hall that has the stairs down to the first floor of the mansion. This hall has 2 locked doors. One of them is locked with the helmet key, which you will not be getting until later in the film. And then it's also locked with a code at the end of the hall. So you actually don't have the code to this door either. So we're just gonna have them go down the stairs to the first floor. So in this area that they're entering, they're actually gonna have a storeroom directly as soon as they descend the stairs. We're gonna have Chris enter the storeroom here, and then we're actually gonna have Wesker just go on ahead, and he's gonna investigate the hall to make sure that it's safe. So in the game, if you enter this storeroom as Chris, Rebecca Chambers will be waiting in here, and she's gonna mace Chris. Upon discovering who each other are, they're actually gonna have a little interaction where Rebecca says that she serviced the helicopter recently, but something went wrong with the engine and they had to make a forced landing. And upon doing so, they were separated and she ran into this mansion. After this, you can probably finish the interaction and you can leave, or you could pick up some items in the storeroom if you're playing through the game. But as you go to leave, Rebecca's actually going to say that she wants to come with you and she wants to ask if that's okay. So you can either say yes or no. But if you say no, she won't come with you and you won't be seeing her for basically the remainder of the game. And if you say yes, she's gonna say that she needs to finish preparing some things and then she could come along with you after that. So we're gonna have the latter happen. We're gonna have Chris tell Rebecca that she is welcome to come with him to search for the rest of the Bravo team and Alpha team. So as soon as she does that, she's going to tell him that she needs to prepare something before she can go with him, just like she does in the game. And we're going to have Chris leave this storeroom. So upon exiting the storeroom, Chris is going to find that Wesker is no longer there. So he's actually going to go and he's going to enter the hall that leads to the room where the armor key is in. In this room, there's also a dangerous plant that has been infected by the T virus. So we're going to have him here for this scene, and then we're going to pick up with Jill. She's actually going to be entering the door on the opposite side of the dining room, which is the room that has the water statue that holds the first floor map. So when she enters the room, we can actually have her just pick up the map. I feel like she could just boost herself up and just pick it up for realistic purposes, because in the game, you would have to push some stairs in front of the statue and then climb them up and pick up the map. And this would be a great way to avoid clunky puzzles. And it would be a realistic way for her to obtain items that you would be able to get in the game only by solving puzzles. So we're actually going to have her unlock the door that leads to the hall with a Cerberus jump scare, because she's received the lockpick now and she can actually just open this door with the lockpick. We're going to have her enter the hall and she's going to be jump scared by a Cerberus that jumps through the window. She's going to be able to take care of this dog with a little bit of difficulty. You might have her maybe fall down a couple times, but then finally be able to bring it down. And as she's walking toward the opposite door on the other side of the hall, there's actually a second Cerberus that jumps down through another window. And there's going to be another way for the series to be scary and suspenseful. And we're going to actually have her take down this Cerberus as well. And she's going to be entering a little end part of the hall where there's actually a room. So in this room is another door on the other side. When you enter that door, there's actually take the shotgun in the game. The wall actually has metal prongs that are holding the shotgun up. They will be lowered and the door is going to be open. But when you go into the room that divides the two areas, the one for the mansion and the little room that had the shotgun, there's actually a trap in this room where it's the ceiling fills with spikes and it starts lowering down. So if you were to get the broken shotgun later in the game, you could come back into this room and then you'll be able to pick up the shotgun and just leave. But in Jill's scenario, if you come in here and you pick up the shotgun and you come into the little room that separates the two rooms, a scene will play out where Jill is going to ask for help and Barry is going to come and he's going to be on the other side of the door and he's going to kick the door down and then he's going to save Jill from the trap. So we're going to have that scene play out here exactly like it does in the game. We're going to have Jill just walk into this room, and upon seeing the shotgun, she's going to pick it up, because up to this point, she's only had her handgun. And against the Cerberus, is not really that powerful. So we're going to have her pick up the shotgun, and when she steps into the little room that divides the two parts of the mansion, she's going to be entrapped by the ceiling spikes. So we're going to have Barry break down the door and we're going to have him save her from this trap. So at this point, Jill is going to ask Barry why he wasn't at the dining room investigating like he said so he's going to say that he had something he needed to check, and then he's going to leave. So this part is going to be basically the same like it does in the game, so we're going to have that scene here. After that, since Chris just entered the room with the plant in it, the one with the poisonous plant, this room is the one that also contains the armor key. We're going to have him and Jill meet up at this point so that their scenarios can be cohesive from this point on. We're actually going to have them split up a couple more times throughout the series, but for now we're going to have them meet up again. So since Jill was on the side, I want to say the right side of the mansion, and Chris is currently in the left side. If Jill goes into the right side mansion's storeroom, which is located in this area that holds the stairwell up to the second floor, that lead where you find the green herb book. If you go into this storeroom, there's actually a herbicide chemical in here that you need to use to kill the plant. So since Jill was already on that side of the house, I feel like we can have it that she would be the one to pick this item up. That way it's more convenient for our story, and we can have Jill traverse back to the other side of the mansion to try and find Chris, since she just went through this whole right side of the mansion and didn't encounter him. So she's going to go into the left side of the mansion and she's going to try to find Chris there. So she's actually going to end up in the same room that has the plant in it where Chris is right now. And there's the armor keys actually on like a crest on the far end of the room past the plant. So what we're going to probably have at this point is that maybe Chris or Jill is going to try to walk past the plant, and maybe they're going to get grabbed by one of the vines. And we're going to have one of the other characters cut it off from them so that they can be freed. They're going to notice that they're not going to be able to pass without that plant intervening, so they're going to try to find a way to kill it. Jill is going to point out that she brought this herbicide with her, and they're going to notice that in the corner there's a water tank that leads up to the fountain. The water tank doesn't have a lid, so they're going to be able to put the herbicide into the tank, and that's going to poison the plant and it's going to kill it. So once they've killed the plant, they're going to be able to walk up to the wall, and they're going to be able to pick up the armor key. So this was actually basically the main goal for this first part of the game, was getting your bearings and exploring the mansion, and basically just picking up the armor key. So now in our little make-believe film, Chris and Jill have just defeated the poisonous plant, and they just picked up the armor key from the wall. So now they're going to be able to do most of the rest of the progression through the game quite easily. There's actually 4 rooms that they need to open, which are very important. Number 1 is the room that holds the 2 stone statues, which has one of the crests, and they actually have there's a gas puzzle in there that if you don't do it, there's poisonous gas that leaks out and they get killed. This is a room that they need to unlock. They need to unlock a door that's in the same hall as this gas puzzle room. This door actually leads to a door they will need to unlock with the shield key later on that actually leads into the Yawn first boss battle. The third door that they need to unlock with the armor key is actually downstairs. It's this little room that's right next to the door that leads into the room that has the statue that holds the water with the first floor map. This one is actually kind of irrelevant in our story because in this room there's actually just another closet, and in the closet you need a key that you actually receive by completing the game, and you can change outfits here. So in our film, this door that needs to be unlocked by the armor key is actually going to be totally irrelevant. We're not even going to talk about it, so I'm just mentioning it here just for anybody that knows, the doors that they need to be opened. Another door that needs to be opened with the armor key is actually a door that holds the broken shotgun. This one is located in the left side of the mansion, where the storeroom is located in the same hall. This room is another room that's going to be irrelevant since Jill in our film has already picked up the shotgun, and she will not be needing the broken shotgun to exchange it at the crest so that she can safely get out of this room because she's already been saved by Barry. So we're not going to need this room at all. There's also another room upstairs that you can open. This one is just a room that leads to two other rooms. One room leads into a scientist's bedroom. You can pick up some important paperwork in here, and you can pick up some ammo after completing a puzzle. But this room is not going to be really that relevant in terms of story wise. They might just come in here and discover some of the paperwork, which is actually important. But the other room, actually, the only important item in that room is a lighter. We actually won't be needing the lighter at all because we won't be using it for the puzzles that are encountered in the game. Because in the movie, we're just going to make it simplistic and we're just going to have them use the lighter because they already have it with them. So those two rooms are actually going to be relevant either. Starting from there, so we're going to have them go into the gallery. The gallery is actually a room that contains a whole bunch of paintings, and each painting has a button underneath. So for this puzzle, the puzzle is actually entitled From Cradle to Grave. So the point of the puzzle is for you to click the button under each painting in order from birth to death. So you start off with a baby picture, then a little boy picture, then a young man and a middle-aged man, and finally you get to the old man. And there's one last painting entitled Death. So when you click this button, the painting falls and it reveals your first crest. So in the film, I feel like the way that this could play out is that the characters could come in and they can read the title to the painting, and then they could figure out the puzzle. But in the game, if you shoot your gun in this room, there's actually a lot of crows here. So if you shoot your gun, it'll startle the crows and they'll attack you. So what we can have happen is, in the game, if you press the last button to the last painting, it falls and it creates a loud noise. This does not startle the crows in-game, which is kind of weird. But in our movie that we're making up, we're actually going to have them loudly and it's going to startle all the crows. All the crows are actually going to get ready to attack them. So they're going to want to leave this room quickly. They're going to grab the crest that they just got revealed and they're going to head out of this room. Once they head out to this room, they're going to explore the door that's exactly in front of this room. So this room leads into a hall that actually leads to a door that's locked. So the door needs to be unlocked by inserting 4 crests: the wind crest, the star crest, the moon crest, and I believe the sun crest. So we need to get all these crests and we need to insert them into this door to proceed through the game. So this is our main goal for the second part of the mansion. So once they've acquired the first one, they're going to be heading to the second floor dining hall. In this hall, there's actually a statue that has a blue jewel. Seeing as that this is in the 1990s, I feel like maybe Jill would notice the statue and she'd see that there's something glowing on it. She'd go up to it and notice that it's a jewel, and maybe when trying to look at it, she'll notice that it can come off. But since the statue is rather tall, she can't pry it off. In the game, you would have to knock this statue off from the second floor dining hall into the first floor dining hall. So this is what we're going to have our characters in our movie do. We're going to have them push this statue from the second floor down to the first floor. And they're going to head downstairs, they're going to head into the dining room, they're going to pick up the jewel, and they're going to be heading into the hall that contained the room where they picked up the armor key. In this same hall, there's actually a little room where there's a tiger statue. In this tiger statue reads, "Some tigers have a blue eye and a red eye." So seeing as they just picked up this blue jewel, they're going to be wanting to insert it into the tiger's eye. Upon doing so, they're actually going to be given the second crest. Once they picked up the second crest, they're actually going to be going up to the second floor, and they're going to be unlocking the door that leads into the gas puzzle room, which are these actually 2 big double doors that are blue in the middle of the hall. When they enter this room, there's a gas puzzle where you have to push 2 stone statues in front of some vents that are located on the floor. Once you press the button in the middle, a display case is going to drop its door, and you're going to be given the 3rd crest. If you don't push the statues completely over the vents, or you don't even bother with the statues at all, when you press the button in the middle, not only does the display case door lower, but poisonous gas comes out. So what we can have happen is that they can have the two characters, Jill and Chris, push both statues into place, but maybe one of the statues won't be completely over one of the vents, and when they press the button, the display case will lower, and they'll be able to get the third crest. But upon receiving the third crest, they'll notice that there's poisonous gas leaking into the room, so they're gonna want to leave this room really fast. So we're gonna have them leave this room, and we're actually gonna have them open another door that is in that same hall containing those two double blue doors. This room is important because it leads to another character. So in the game, if you're playing through and you go and unlock and explore all the doors that you can unlock with the armor key, one of these doors leads into a hall. This hall actually contains Richard. So Richard has been attacked by the Yawn, presumably before Alpha Team got to the mansion. When they get to Richard, he's on the verge of death, and one of your characters, depending on if you're playing as Jill or Chris, if you're playing as Jill, you're gonna have to go and get the serum for Richard. If you're Chris, Rebecca's gonna go do it, I believe. So what happens is that Richard got attacked by a monster, and he gives you your his radio. After which you have to go and get the serum. When you come back, there's another small interaction with Richard, and you give him the serum. He ends up dying anyway, so I feel like this scene can be revised a little bit to follow our convenient story. So if you actually take a really long time exploring the mansion in the game, by the time that you get to this room containing Richard, Richard has already died from his injuries. So we're actually going to have that happen in our scene. So when our protagonists leave the gas puzzle room and they've acquired their third crest, they're going to come into this room and they're going to find that Richard has already died. They're not going to know why he died because he was already dead when they got there, and they're not going to be able to have the interaction that he has with them when he is found alive. That's unfortunate, but it's going to be something I'm going to have to do with the scene for it to work, so that we don't have them have to run back and pick up some serum for Richard to die anyway. I feel like that would be kind of weird, but this actually gives a good nod to some of the bad scenarios that you would encounter when playing the game. So after Richard dies, they're going to tell you that there's another door at the end of this hall. When going through this hall, there's another room on the left that contains candles that you can light with the lighter that you found in the game. But since we are going to establish that our characters already had a lighter with them, we're actually not going to have them go into this room at all, since there's actually nothing important in this room besides lighting the candles, which actually just help you find some ammo that's hidden behind a bookshelf. Since this is irrelevant, we're not going to have this happen, and we're just have them straight up to the door that's up the steps as soon as they walked in. This door is actually the door to the attic. This is where they will be fighting the Yawn the first time. Unfortunately for them, right now it's locked. They need a shield key, which you have not found if you are playing the game. So what we're going to have them do is we're going to have them head back down, and we're going to have them meet up with Rebecca at this point in the meet with our group now. So it's going to be Jill, Chris, and Rebecca. And they're all going to, when they enter this room, they'll be able to find me. For this scene, we're going to actually have Jill take over. We're going to actually have Jill play the piano for us. When Jill plays the piano, a door that is hidden will open, and it will lead into a small hallway. This small hallway contains a statue that has a wooden emblem. A gold emblem. If you take the gold emblem out, the door will lock behind you and you won't be able to leave. Reinserting the emblem in, you'll be able to open the door. So what you actually have to do for this puzzle is that there's another matching emblem in the fireplace. This one is wooden. If you bring it back to this room and you take the gold wooden one and you switch them, you'll be able to leave this room, and you'll be able to insert the gold one into the fireplace. When you insert it into the fireplace, the grandfather shield key. So what we're going to have them do for our movie is that Jill is going to play the piano and she's going to reveal the secret door. She's going to go in and she's going to pull out the gold emblem only to have the door behind her lock. She's going to reinsert it, and she's going to say that that's an important, so they're going to need it. So Rebecca's going to recognize that emblem, and she's going to say something along like, "Oh, I've seen something like that before. Give me 1 second." She's going to run out and she's going to head into the dining room. She's going to pick up the wooden one that was on top of the fireplace, and she's going to bring it back. She's going to give it to Jill, and Jill's going to have possession of both emblems. She's going to be able to insert the wooden one into the statue, and she's going to be able to take the gold one out of the room that she's trapped in. They're all going to walk into the dining room, and they're going to insert the gold emblem into the fireplace, and the grandfather clock is going to chime, and it will reveal the secret compartment, and they'll be able to pick up the shield key. Once they've picked up the shield key, we're actually going to have Rebecca split off again really quick, just for a moment, and we're going to have Chris and Jill head on up to the yawn room, which is located in the attic. So at this point, we're going to have Rebecca actually explore one of the only remaining doors that is important for now, which is one of the doors that's located in the first floor hall on the second floor. So there's two doors. One's leading to the second floor dining hall, and the second door leads into the second floor hall that contained the room with the gas puzzle. Leads into a hallway. This hallway leads out to a balcony. If you're playing as Chris or Jill, when you get out here, Forrest is already dead. So Forrest has been pecked to death by crows on this balcony, and depending on who you play as, when you come out here, he'll either have a rocket launcher or he'll have a handgun magazine. So we're actually going to eliminate both of those, and we're going to have our character Rebecca come out here instead of Chris or Jill. And since Rebecca and Forrest are part of Bravo team, this will give us a good way to expand on Bravo team's story a little bit, and also give Rebecca a little bit more emotional depth. We're going to have her find Forrest pecked to death by crows, and we're going to have the crows come in and try to attack her. While she's trying to take care of the crows, we're actually going to have Forrest resuscitate. He's going to come back to life, and he's going to turn into a zombie, and he's going to try to kill Rebecca. Rebecca is going to have to put down Forrest, and this is going to be an emotional toll on her because Bravo team is presumably as close-knit as Alpha team, and we know how Chris, Barry, and Jill interact with each other, and how they show that they really do like their comrades, that they would basically do anything for them. And to have Rebecca have to put down her friend here would be something that could be portrayed as really sad in the movie, and this could give us more depth into the characters, more ways to show emotions that you would be able to if you were playing a game. So as soon as Rebecca does this, Jill and Chris are going to be entering the yawn room. When they enter this room, the yawn is going to appear, and the yawn is actually poisonous, and it's going to try to kill them. So we're going to have them fight with the yawn a couple of minutes maybe before they realize that there is actually something that it's protecting. Once they're able to take down the yawn and it retreats, they're going to see that what it was protecting was the last crest that they needed. Once they pick up this last crest, the main goal for the second half of the mansion has been reached, and they're going to be able to unlock that door that leads into the courtyard. So at this point, we're actually going to have Chris and actually going to have Rebecca meet up with him a little bit later. So we're just going to have Chris and Jill at this point just run back out to the hall that leads to the door that leads into the hall that has the door with the 4 crests that you need to open. When they're enter this room, there's actually some Cerberus in here in the game, and we're actually going to have them maybe jump scare the characters at this point. Once they defeat them, they'll be able to insert the 4 crests into the door, and they're going to be able to unlock this door. So at this point is where I'm going to be ending my my first part of this video. So right now we've covered the prologue to the game. We've covered the first half of the game, reaching the armor key, which was an important item, and we also covered the second half of the game, which is getting the 4 crests so that you can open the courtyard and defeating the yawn the first time. So we've already covered this, and for the next videos I'm going to be covering the guardhouse, and I'm going to be covering the second time that you come back to the mansion with the helmet key. I hope you guys like the way that I explained the way I would envision this movie. I know that this movie or series can have great potential, and I know that if done right and envisioned right, it can do quite well. And I'm showing you guys a good way that we can transition from the game mechanics and go and translate them into movie scenes that actually work, that don't feel clunky or awkward. I'm gonna keep working on this, and I'm gonna keep releasing more videos on it. And I hope if you guys like it, I hope you guys give it a thumbs